Okay, so what we have in for repair today is something called a Nerf Scooter or Nerf Scooter Blaster. It's basically just a cheap plastic scooter that shoots little Nerf bullets out the front here. There's a, you see if I can get a better view here. There's two little barrels here that shoot out with Nerf bullets out of these magazines here. The problem with this is the customer just says it's not shooting anymore. There's two buttons here and they don't seem to do anything. But the first thing I'm going to try and do here is remove this part and just get working on that because I don't need any of this. So I'll see if I can get that off first and we'll go from there. Alright. Okay, so these screws are for the battery compartment, but I took a little look online and apparently there's a screw in there as well that holds this top unit onto this. So I'll get in there and remove that screw. Okay, so there's batteries in this thing already, but I don't know if there's any power left in there. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, I see the screw in there actually. I need a bigger bit for that. So that's the screw that holds the head on. So there's a button here, but I don't know if that does anything, or we just have to push this, or what do we do here? There we go. Yeah, you hold the button and push it from the back. So that's the bit we need to work on. Now there's something loose in there. We'll find it when we open it. Now there's a little connector here. I'm guessing that's where the power comes from the battery compartment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put I'm going to test the batteries first actually, see if we're getting power from them, and if we are, I'll just try and figure out where in that connector the 6 volts, or sorry, 9 volts is it? 1.3. Yeah, the 9 volts comes into this unit here. So that one's good. Yeah, all 1.5, maybe 1.6 volts are reading. The customer actually gave me more batteries to test this with, but he must have thought the batteries in it were dead, but now they're fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these all back in and probe the other end of the connector here and see where I'm getting 9 volts, and then I can just inject that into this connector for testing. Well, first off, actually I'm going to test to make sure 9 volts is coming out of this battery compartment. Yeah, it is. We're getting 9.44 on this. So I'm just going to test for continuity actually, so I can just do this by process of elimination. There we go. So that will be the positive is on the top here. And let me see where the ground is. Right, so it's just the top two. It's just the top two ones used here. So we should get 9.44 volts out of this connector here. And we do, yeah. So that would mean on this, if it slides on like that, the left will be plus and the one beside that will be ground. So I wonder what the other two pins are for. Maybe they aren't used at all. So at least you know now the power is getting from here to here. So the problem lies in this part. It's nothing to do with the battery connector here. So we can just get rid of this part now. We don't need this for now. And we can work on taking this apart. So first thing I'll do is just take out the wee magazine thing that holds the bullets. Take that out and take that. And there's a wee access panel on top, so if you have any mechanical jams with the bullets, you can just reach in and fix them. But that's obviously not our issue. Let me see where's the best place to start taking this apart. Here, I think. Okay. we need to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws on the side, and this should come apart then. Now I'm only after realising actually the front looks like it has to come off because it's screwed into both sides. So there's 4 screws in the front holding these barrels on, so I'll take those off now. Okay, so that's the 2 barrels off. Now let's see if that's enough to take this apart, or if there's something else. I'll lift this flap here. There looks to be another screw on the inside there, but oh no, I'm wrong, sorry. There we go, that's that off now. So we're inside. Oh, there's some corrosion on that connector. Let me see if I can get that to focus in the camera. Let me see if I can get that. If you can see that, there's a lot of, like, see that white powder stuff, that's corrosion in that there. It looks like water or some kind of liquid got in. That could be a problem. I'll clean that up first. And I found what was loose inside making that noise. It looks like some sort of lip gloss or something. What is that? Oops, it is. Yeah, lip shine. Someone's obviously missing half their lip shine. So that's that mystery solved as well. And I see a lot of loose bullets in there as well. Must have got lost somewhere when it must have jammed up and they somehow got lost in here. With a few extra bullets as well. Oh, they're tricky to get out. Oh, I think I know what the extra pins are for in that connector. Because the buttons for activating the firing are actually on the scooter part here. I think that's a wire for each button. I think that's what that is. Or maybe the 2 of them for, because these 2 buttons are linked, they both do the same thing. Maybe it's just 2 wires for both buttons connected together, I don't know. But I think that's what that's for. Now I'm just going to try and clean this up. I'll put some isopropyl alcohol on it and try and clean it with a toothbrush. I'm just going to go over those solder joints again because they don't look great. Okay, that looks not too bad now. I'll just give that another clean, and I might actually test it after that now, because that corrosion could definitely have been stopping that power from getting to the rest of this. Okay, so I'm going to put this back together as loosely as I can just to test it and see was that our problem. Okay, so that's enough for me. Just be able to see what's working and what's not now. Nah, still nothing. So that's not actually what the real problem is. There's another problem there, obviously. Open this back up again. I'm just going to check for continuity between the pins on the inside and the wires on the outside. Maybe the corrosion is worse than I think and it's not getting through. That pin's fine. That pin's fine. Yeah, they're all fine. So the connector isn't the problem here. Okay, so we need to take this apart a bit more to figure out what's wrong. So what would be the best way to do that? What is this thing here, I wonder? That's a switch to do with the firing mechanism. It must be when it hits that switch it reloads or something. I don't know. Okay, so I could test the motor to see, is it working? Yeah, I'll just put something like 1.5 volts into that motor and see does it do anything. So it is ticking. So the motor is working at 3 volts. I'm guessing it's meant to go a lot faster than that, but we just need to know it's working. We need to know how fast it goes. So the motor's fine. So obviously there's a wee board in here, so I'm guessing it's something to do with that. So we need to take apart some more screws here. I'll try these screws here. This needs to come off as well. That's got something to do with the firing mechanism. Yeah, so it needs to come off. This is coming off now, but these little spinny things need to come off too because they're attached to a motor which isn't lifting out. So we'll see if I can get them off without breaking them. I'll try and pry them off gently if I can. Yeah, they're coming off. It's not too bad. I thought that was going to be a lot worse than what it was. There we go. So will this come off now? Yes, it will. Good stuff. So now we're into what looks to be the rest of the circuitry in here. We have two, I'm guessing this feeds the bullet in, and these two motors are the two blasters that fire. So this spins around, works a mechanism to lift the bullet in from each magazine and feed it into the barrel. Now what could be wrong in this? What could be wrong? Okay, so power comes in here, goes into this board, and when a switch is pushed it tells us to start activating this motor and these motors. I'm guessing something like that. And I would say the bullet activates switches as it goes along to tell us to fire or tell us when to fire, or there's a little switch in there I'm guessing that tells the rest of it something. So we just need to figure out which part of this isn't working. I'm going to take out this little board here if I can and see if there's anything on that obvious. Now it's glued in there a little bit, it's some hot glue. I'll just try and peel that off. There we go. So it just sits in like that. But we'll pick it out with the board. I don't see anything obvious here. If I knew what those switches did to this, I could just inject power into this and test the buttons, but I don't know what way those switches work. Maybe those switches are broken. Right, so these are the switches that I think could be the problem. So I need to take off, I'm guessing this just comes off, so I'll take out these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws here, and see if we can find out what's wrong with this thing. And I need a smaller screwdriver. You know what, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to actually put this on the ground, take the screws out, and then put it back up here and show you. Okay, so I couldn't get it open fully because there was screws rusted that I couldn't get out. But I got a wee look in and it looks to be just an ordinary switch, so I'm guessing those pins are meant to be shorted to tell this thing to activate. So what I'm going to do to test that is I'm going to inject voltage into this. I'm going to inject 9 volts into this and short those pins and see what happens. Right, so that's 9 volts there, and if I short these pins, what happens? Nothing happens. Let me just check the 9 volts is definitely getting onto the board. Ground and battery. It's not, weirdly. Let me check the continuity here. Something's missing. That's battery, yeah. This brown wire goes somewhere else. Oh, there's another switch here that needs to be pushed down. What needs to be in there? A magazine? No, not a magazine. Okay, so the access flap pushes down on a switch to allow the voltage to get to the board. So let me test that again then. There we go. So is voltage getting to the board now? Not completely. There's something here. Maybe my wee things aren't on right. 8.98 volts there, and 2.3 volts. That's not right. I wonder what that's about. That's strange. I wonder what's on that board there. I think the problem might actually be this board in here. It looks like it's got corrosion on it. On the back of it, looks like it. How do I get in there? Let me turn this off. How do I get at that though? Can it just be pushed off without breaking it? Yeah, that switch is definitely an issue there. You can see even you can hear like the corrosion crackling, crunching when you push it down. So that's definitely an issue, if not the issue. Just need to figure out how to get at that now. I wonder, can I just take out that switch and bypass it? Because I'm sure it doesn't really matter if the access panel's open or not. Like. No, it does actually. Because if a wane sticks your finger in, you don't want that going. You don't want to be able to move and jam their finger. I'm going to try and get this out anyway and see if I can fix it. Yeah, that's got some water damage on it though. The switch itself, like the wires look fine, but the switch itself, I would say, yeah, it's all rusted underneath as well. Let me just do a continuity test on that. So when the button isn't pressed, that will be the access panel open. The two at the back. Or at least meant to be. Now if I push this in, nothing. It's not picking up the beeping. I'll try resistance. So the front two, 30 ohms, 40 ohms, 300 and something kilo ohm. Okay, so the front two is jumping up and down, but it's a few hundred kilo ohms. Back two, 3.7 kilo ohms and climbing. 3.8, around 3.8. Now but this is half depressed, this button is half pushed down. If I push that down completely, what will I get on the back two? Around 8 kilo ohms. And on the front two, again, climbing up to the hundreds of kilo ohms. So this thing needs a really good clean. I don't know if isopropyl alcohol will be enough for this. I think this might be just beyond repair, to be honest. But I will try. I'll give it a go. I'll spray some contact cleaner in this and try and free it up. It feels a lot freer now. It actually does. Maybe this will work. Let me just do a continuity test on that again to see if it's making a better connection now. Now I'm guessing two of these should be connected before it's pressed down, but it's not making a beep. It only beeps for a second. Let me do a resistance test on this. Back two when it's pushed down. Kilo ohms. Front two. Front two. Kilo ohms as well. Resistance in it isn't reading any different, doesn't look like. Let me try and clean this a bit more. The switch itself is a lot freer now. I'm just going to test it actually. I'm going to inject power again and just test it rather than reading the resistances and everything. This will be the quickest way to know. Right. So the switch has to be closed, so it thinks the access panel is closed, and I'll try and short these two. Nah, still on. I'll test to see is the power getting to the board. Nothing. Now if I test the live down here and get 9 volts to the switch. Okay, so we're getting 9 volts here. So this has to connect to something else whenever, this has to connect to the black wire in the middle whenever the switch is pushed. That's how power gets to the board. So connect those two, push the switch. We're getting that. But it's not constant. Alright, when the switch is pushed in too far, like right now, it stops. So that's where I was doing wrong, I was pushing it too far. So I'll try that one more time. Voltage injected. Voltage injected, and push it in just enough and short these 2 pins. It's taking 0.005 milliamps for a second whenever I push that switch in just enough. Now when I short one of those pins to ground, it takes a couple 100 milliamps. So power is getting to this now. I wonder what would be the best way to test this. Because as I say, I can only see a switch in there, but maybe there's some other circuit in there I'm missing because I can't get that cover off because the screws are so rusted. Let me see here. Let me test this a little bit more. But then we have another switch here. Hold on, I forgot about the switch. This is another switch. Maybe that has to be pushed down as well. So that one and that one maybe need to be pushed down. Okay, so we've voltage injected. This switch, which will let power to that main board there, we'll hold that just enough, and this one. There we go, that's it working there now. So this switch has to be down, and this one then, which is probably to do with the magazines being inserted. So this one pushed down lets us know that the access panel is closed. Then this one lets it know that a magazine is inserted and is ready to fire bullets. Isn't it? Hold on. So hold that just enough. Hold that down. Oh, what am I missing now? Why did that stop? Hold on, let me turn it off now. Okay, so hold the switch. Hold this. This switch, and short these two then maybe? Yeah, there we go. So you have to, this switch I'm guessing lets the machine know there's a magazine in there. This switch lets it know that the access panel is closed because it doesn't want to activate when it's open in case a kid sticks their finger in there to free a jam, and you don't want this to fire again because their finger will get caught up in it. So magazine in, access panel closed, and then I'm shorting these 2 pins here on the 4-pin connector to simulate a button being pressed, the fire button being pressed on the scooter itself. So that's these 2. So magazine access panel. And that's the firing. So that's it fixed there now. The problem ended up being, well, there was a few problems. There was corrosion on this, so that could have been a problem as well. There was corrosion here, and then the switch here was corroded as well. So I would say it was probably both of them together was causing an issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use more, I don't know if you can see that properly. Can you see there's a switch there? So this switch here was the main problem. I'm just going to put some more IPA in there and electrical contact cleaner and clean that out just to make sure it's completely free and not going to jam up again. Okay, so just before I screw this all back together again and test it properly, I'll just do a wee overview of what was wrong with it. There was corrosion in behind this connector. I don't know if that was the actual problem, but it would have been a problem eventually. A corrosion would have ate away at the copper. So that was one issue. And the other issue was there's a little switch underneath the access panel. I don't know if you can see that just here. It's a wee black switch there. It pushes down. When this is closed, this access panel is closed, it activates that switch. The reason for that is this stops the power going to the board. So for example, if these were jammed, the bullets were jammed in here, and a child stuck their finger in to try and free it up, you don't want someone to be able to come along and press the button and have this mechanism going, because you could catch your finger in that, and that could hurt the child, or adult even. It could hurt anyone. So the power only goes to the board once the switch is closed, and for that to be closed, this access panel needs to be closed. That had a lot of water damage in there, rust and everything. I would say this has been used in the rain and the water's eventually got in there, but I freed it up with isopropyl alcohol and electrical contact cleaner, so it seems to be working good there now. So I will just test this now with the batteries and everything and see does it all work 100%, or do we have more issues with the switches. Alright, so moment of truth, does it work? We'll test it here now. And yeah, it works. Now just to make sure both those buttons are working, I'll test the other one here. Yeah, that's working 100% there now. And we'll try just out of curiosity with the access panel open. Yeah, nothing. No power going to that board now. Just to stop someone getting caught up in there. Yeah, it's working 100% there now. So that's it fixed. The problem was definitely the wee button onto this access panel, but that connector definitely needed to clean up as well. It was corroded and that would have only got worse. So that's it working there now. That's how to fix a Nerf Scooter Blaster that isn't shooting anymore. A few wee things to look at there. There's a switch here, a switch for the magazine, and just all the wee connectors along the way. So hopefully that helps somebody out who's having a problem with one of these. And I'll end the video there. So yeah, that's it.